Good evening, welcome to the stream, welcome to Hardcore Speedball Season 1 2021 semi-final. Thank you for joining us. You'll see on the field we've already got our first players out there, our first teams, sorting out for the first match of the night, of course. Thank you to our sponsors for this season. We have GBA, Gel Blasters Australia, RPM Tech Shop, GBU, Tidy Toys, Vadios Clothing Company, and Strikeforce Mod Shop. And of course, down on the field, we also have Nathan Rosa Photography. I'm Trent on Soft Ops, from Soft Ops, and I'll be your host this evening. Now, for the first round tonight, we actually have Yakuza up against Hell's Gels. Now, you'll see down the field at the moment, we do have Yakuza off to the left-hand side. Hang on a second. They're all looking very similar for the moment. Yeah, and Hell's Gels to the right. And for those of you tuning in from the previous rounds, you'll see that we now have a new field layout. So for the most part, a lot of these players are seeing this field for the first time this season. A few guys have been out on casual sessions and, of course, some training as well. And you'll see some of the Hell's Gels players trying to utilize some of the new spaces. So you'll see up on the snake, there's some extra cover. We've also got two little carrot type shapes between the Doritos, and we have those wings up and down the left hand and right hand sides of the field. And looks like Yakuza's cleaned up the field for the first game. Now, for those of you that haven't seen before, tonight we do have 4 teams returning to the field for the semi-final to fight for the right to compete in the grand final next week. So at the moment on the field, you'll see we have Yakuza and Hell's Gels. We also have Damage Cartel B returning, and we have Valhalla's Allstars as well. So they'll be fighting out in a few rounds from here. Sorry, a few matches from here. So we now have Yakuza on the right-hand side and Hell's Gels on the left for the second game of the first match. Nice, looks like an aggressive push into the castle, and players from both Hell's Gels and Yakuza were traded early on. And Hell's Gels has taken a bit more of a defensive stance this time around, with 2 players sitting on the tee and 1 on that pillar on the top left corner as well. Looks like these guys are playing a little bit more conservatively this time around. Obviously, semi-final is on the line, and you'll see these guys are absolutely sending rounds down through that field, but not a lot of pushing forward for the moment, waiting for a safe moment to be able to actually secure the rest of the field. And fantastic defense from the player on the pillar on the top right there. And looks like he's taken a hit, so he's out now. And you've heard it from the head ref, Rowan, down on the field there. Hells Gels takes that game, now switching sides for the third game of the first match. So that's 1 apiece. Yakuza is up 1, and Hells Gels is up 1 as well. So the winner of the next game will determine the winner of the first match. We expect the competition to be pretty tight tonight as well. A lot of the guys playing out there have a lot of experience and are very, very skilled. Nice early trade up there in the snake between Hells Gels and Yakuza, so both teams are down a player. And it looks like Hells has taken up that same position, so 2 players sitting on the tee and 1 sitting up on the pillar, whereas Yakuza has taken a slightly more aggressive stance with the player still remaining in the castle. Nice and sneaky play or an attempt from Noddy there from Yakuza pushing into the snake. It did not pay off for him. And finished off with a really nice and aggressive sweep and cover from the team on Yakuza as well. And again, confirmation from Rowan there. Yakuza takes that game, so that's 2 games to 1. Yakuza takes the first match of the evening. For the second match, we'll be seeing Hells Gels return to the field, this time going up against Damage Cartel B. And again, thanks guys for joining us. Seeing a lot of chatter in the Facebook feed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in and supporting your teams. Really want to see who's in here for what team. I see a lot of support for Hells Gels. Is anyone here for Damage? Is anyone here for Valhallas?
The HSG V2G was designed with advice from some of the best techs in the industry. The prototyping, the manufacturing, it's all Australian, made right here in Queensland using world-class materials.
Hey Martin, thanks for joining us. You did miss a game. You missed the first 3 games. First 3 games were Yakuza and Hells Gels. Yakuza walked away the winner of that match. Just catching up in the chat here. Looks like quite a bit of support for Yakuza, so thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting your favorite teams. Support for Hell's Gels, Damage, fantastic. It's really good to see you guys in here. If anyone spotted that yellow card as well, there was a yellow card that was issued, I think, to Hell's Gels, and just got chatter over the radio from Rowan saying that there was a moment of full auto. And yeah, it's one of those things you got to really look out for as well. A lot of the players that come in here, for the most part, will semi-lock their blasters, so it doesn't matter kind of how much you mistreat it or bump it, it will only fire on semi or it'll be on safe. But if something hasn't been fully converted, if there's still an auto function there, I've seen players bump their blasters into auto, accidentally of course, and of course it leads to a penalty because this is a semi-locked tournament. Hey, Speedsoft Australia, thanks for joining us, thanks for watching. Always good to see the support from the community and jumping into these leagues. Hey Robert, good to see you tuning in again. Thanks for joining us. As always, good way to start your morning over there. Now again, as we head into the second match, we'll be seeing Damage Cartel B return to the field for the first time in the semi-final, and Hell's Gels will return to the field after that initial match. And if you didn't watch the previous rounds, Damage Cartel and Hell's Gels did actually face off against each other in round 5. So it's not the first time these guys are going to be button heads and blasters on the field. Alright, here we go. Players entering the field, ready for the coin toss to figure out which side they're going to start on. And looks like Hell's Gels will be starting on the right-hand side and Damage Cartel be on the left-hand side. Looks like teams are really fond of the snake this time around with that extra cover in there. Both teams have pushed a player up there nice and early. And we've got Damage Cartel with 2 players on each Dorito on the left-hand side. And of course, you can see Hell's Gels has gone for that play again with 2 players sitting inside the T. Obviously giving them a bit of cover and hopefully enough of a line to stop them getting sweeped. And you can hear some really nice chatter and communication coming from Trick on Damage Cartel, currently sitting down in that castle, telling his team to hold position. Nice, and he looks like he's taking out that player on the T. And that was a very, very slim line as well, so that's a nice shot. And you currently got a Hell's Gels player sweeping down through the snake and to the rear. Is he going to catch Trick? It looks like Trick spotted him. And it seems like Trick's not quite sure if it's only him or if he's got players on both sides waiting for that pincer. Here we go. Nice, really nice, clean work from Hell's Gel sweeping through on Trick. And of course, you hear the confirmation there. Hell's Gels takes the first game of match 2. So swapping ends, we'll now see Hell's Gels starting on the left-hand side and Damage Cartel B starting on the right-hand side. Always gotta love the cheers coming from their team at the start there. A little bit of a muck in. Alright, a nice push from Hell's Gels into the castle this time around, and one player again from Damage Cartel B sitting up on the snake. You'll actually see there, if you can't catch that audio, Trick's actually even telling his team what rate of fire to use. You can hear him to say calm down, and to settle down his fire. Nice aggressive push through the mid, and didn't pay off for either one of those damaged players. Both of them taken out. I think that was definitely Trick in there in the mix. And still a player sitting in Hell's Gels up on that top pillar, trying to suss out the rest of the field, I think. And you can hear that return of fire coming from that right-hand side, low side of the field, just outside of camera shot. Hey Martin, I don't think the feed has stopped. Just give your page a refresh. I've just got it up here on another screen and it all seems fine on my end. Nice, and a nice finish from Hell's Gels. It's always fun to see whether or not the referee can actually reach that chain. Need a little bit of height on him, I think. And straight from Rowan, Hell's Gels takes that game. So that's 2 games to Hell's Gels for the second match of the evening, swapping sides for that third game. So again, we'll now see Hell's Gels starting on the right-hand side and Damage Cartel back over to the left. Bit of a change up here. You'll see Damage Cartel B has actually just put 2 players onto that Dorito on the low side, which you can see here is allowing Trick to move through into the castle and still maintain a lane of fire coming out of that Dorito. Might have seen there, a Damage Cartel player has just done a bit of a butt scoot into that new cover sitting up on Snake on the high side, and it's allowing him to slowly move up that field and pincer the remaining players from Hell's Gels. And you'll see again, just in that tee, you can just see the head of one of the Hell's Gels players there, kind of holding his own. Looks like those tees give quite a bit of cover, and players sitting in those spots seem to last quite a while. And there you have it. Damage takes that third game, but Hell's Gels does take that match as they walked away with 2 game victories from match 2. Now for match 3, we'll be seeing Damage Cartel B return to the field, and this time they'll be going up against Valhalla's Allstars. So there'll be about a 5-minute break before they re-enter the field, and they'll be duking it out. In the meantime, let's just quickly run an ad for you during the break.
Thanks to GBU and obviously Stig Industries as well for supplying all of the components that we need to have our kick-ass blasters. If you're looking for any parts for any kind of build, come down, give GBU a try. I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
All right, I'm just quickly looking through the run sheet, just trying to figure out, I don't think Valhalla's has gone up against Damage Cartel in this season, in this league just yet. They did go up against their A team in round 4, but they haven't actually met on the field yet. So it'll be interesting to see how these two teams duke it out and who's going to come out on top. They're both very aggressive teams and both play really, really well. And again, just as a reminder as well, so this is the semi-final. It is the same format as the previous couple of rounds. Each team is going up against each other once throughout the evening, and that's it. So they have a match of 3 games. Whoever walks out on top, that's it for the evening. And whoever gets the most match wins will proceed through to the grand final. So 2 teams tonight will be facing off again next week for the grand final. And it's not just bragging rights that they're fighting out for here. There is a cash prize of $1,200. They get some winners' jerseys. They get a trophy. They get the name on a plaque. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. And of course, there are runner-up prizes and all that sort of stuff as well. So there is a lot on the line. I still remember last year, even when I played, even the first game, before we even got through to the semis and to the finals, there is a sense of nervousness purely because you can get knocked out for the silliest little mistake, and that's it. So there's a lot of pressure for these guys to perform tonight. All right, and that's the 2-minute warning, so you'll start to see the teams make their way onto the field and go through the coin toss to figure out which side they're going to play on. Looks like we've got a supporter of Valhalla's in the comments. Thanks for your support, Caitlin. Thanks for joining in. For those that are watching, those that are in the chat right now, is there a particular player you're here to support? So not just the team, but who are your favorite players out there tonight? Hey Dapper, just seeing your comments in there. Yes, Valhalla's All-Stars are up in this next match. They're entering the field now, and they are up against Damage Cartel B. Now, one of the requests that, of course, that I had from one of the Valhalla's players is to bring on to the webcam their little mascot as well. So we'll have this here for their games, for that little bit of extra support. Gotta figure out how to get him into the camera here. I think we can make this work. It'll be cozy. Alright, so we've got Valhalla's All-Stars on the right-hand side, and we have Damage Cartel B on the left. Looks like a Valhalla's player has made it nice and deep into that snake, sitting on that high side cover, the new piece that's been added as a part of the new round. And of course, there's a player down in the bottom sitting on the castle as well, so they've got both lanes on each side. Still a bit of chatter from those remaining players as well, trying to coordinate those attacks. You can hear Valhalla's yelling across the field from the pillar all the way down to that castle. And it looks like Trick's taking out that position in the castle, waiting for the Valhalla's player to make that peek. Looks like these guys are sitting a bit of a Mexican standoff at the moment. Both teams have some strong positions, and it's a matter of who's going to take that risk to make a move and start taking out the other team. So again, there is a 3-minute time limit on these rounds. So they do need to make a move. There is a bit of pressure for them to actually move through and take some risks, some calculated risks to take out other players. And there you have it. So because no one's made a move, it looks like that game is timed out. So it's going to come down now to points. How many players are left over? And in this situation, this game is a draw between both teams. You'll see up the top there, referees starting to put those barricades back into position after some really aggressive pushes from those players, shifting those barricades around. Alright, and of course, teams have swapped sides again. We now have Damage Cartel sitting on the right-hand side and Valhalla's Allstars on the left. You can see on the left-hand side there, a lot of the Valhalla's All-Stars are communicating, pointing, providing target indication to each other as well. A lot of back and forth between those guys. And we're now seeing Damage Cartel B trying to make a push through. I think that might be some of the first use of that carrot sitting between the two Doritos tonight as well. Looks like they might be making a play for that initial flag grab. Really aggressive play there from Trick, pushing into the castle to clear that out. And that flag has been pulled by Damage Cartel. And looks like they're making a play to sneak through the snake. Let's see how far up they can push with that flag. It'd be interesting to see if they can make a score whilst there's still remaining players on the field. And she got busted. Jade's been taken out. So that flag will be sitting somewhere up there in the snake, whilst we have two players currently sitting down in the castle. One of the Valhalla's players there is trying to play sneaky, it looks like, and is trying to get the drop on Trick. Nice, looks like he got him. Fantastic coordination, and looks like they're trying to figure out where that flag went so they can take it through to the score. Nice work from Valhalla's. And Valhalla's takes that game, switching sides. So you'll now see Damage Cartel heading back over to that left-hand side, and of course Valhalla's Allstars on the right-hand side. Nice, a bit more aggressive from both sides this time around. You'll see both teams have pushed into either Castle or Snake, depending which side you're on. So you'll see Valhalla's up in that Snake on the right-hand side, and Damage Cartel B has Trick in the Castle on the left. Looks like they're making a play again for that middle line from the carrot sitting between those two Doritos on the left-hand side. And we'll see if Jade is going to make a play for that X again. And she's in there. Will she stay around? No, she got caught. And it looks like the Valhalla's player that was sitting up in that Snake took her out, but received a few rounds in return from another player on damage. Looks like some really nice accurate shots coming from Damage, taking out the Valhalla's player on the tee. Looks like trying to figure out if there's still a player sitting on that pillar and moving in for the final point. Let's see who walked away from that one. Trick's still running around, so looks like he made it out of that one alive. He's taking a flag and obviously heading down to the hang now. Just waiting for the final call from the head referee down there, Rowan. If you're trying to work out what he's doing, hang on a sec. Alright, so Damage Cartel takes that game, and they do take the match based on points. So what I was just about to say was Rowan sitting down there at the moment, just going through the points that each team has earned throughout the match. And of course, you had to do that because of that first draw. Otherwise, we'd be looking at both teams with one win and no conclusive winner. So Damage has taken match 3 based on points. So that's now 1 match win to Yakuza, 1 match win to Hell's Gels, and 1 match win to Damage Cartel B. For match 4, we'll now see Valhalla's All-Stars return to the field, and they will be hitting up against Yakuza. So Yakuza already has one match tonight. It'll be interesting to see these two players go up against each other again, where they have faced off before. So let me just check here how long ago it was. Back in round 4, Yakuza and Valhalla's keepers have actually battled out before, and they managed to move through all the way to the semi-final. So it'll be interesting to see who walks away tonight the victor. In the meantime, of course, there is a 5-minute break before that round, so I'll quickly chuck on another ad from one of the league sponsors.
together.
And of course, I have said it before, and I'll say it again, those Poseidon pistols from RPM are absolutely next level. You should go and check them out if you can. Head down to RPM, hit them up on their website or their Facebook page. I'll quickly drop a link as well, just so you can see a bit of gameplay from that. I would seriously recommend checking those out if you're looking for a reliable pistol. And again, so in a few minutes, we'll be heading into match 4, where we'll see Valhalla's Allstars up against Yakuza to see who's going to walk away the victor tonight. Alright, so just a couple more minutes. Valhalla's and Yakuza will enter the field. Just saw a question in there from Robert Tyson as well. And I know the Hardcore Speedball account has already addressed the question, but there was a question there asking, are there points awarded for the flag grab? So yes, there's absolutely points awarded for the flag grab. So that first time, or the first team to grab the flag, will be awarded points. There's points for the flag hang, and there are some bonus points if you manage to hang that flag whilst there's still at least one enemy player remaining. So if you manage to sneak past and hang that flag, you get bonus points for that as well. And there's the 1 minute warning, so we'll see those teams entering the field shortly. And again, if you're only tuning in for a little bit, or you're tuning in, I don't know, maybe afterwards, maybe you're watching this a couple days from now, the grand final is on next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m, same time as always. And of course, tune in a little bit earlier if you want to hang out with Hypecat and some sick beats. But whoever moves through from the semi-final tonight will be duking out again for bragging rights and some really, really nice prizes. The coin has been flipped, and it looks like Yakuza is starting on the left-hand side of the field, and we have Valhalla's All-Stars on the right in the blue jerseys. So yet again, we have Valhalla's mascot hanging out with me. Nice, super aggressive push into the snake from both teams. Looks like one of Valhalla's players had a little bit of a crash into that carrot. And you'll see some really nice coordination from the Yakuza players on the left there. So as they've moved up, one's taken that center position and another is pushed down into that castle. I think they're aware of the Valhalla's player sitting on the outside of their castle as well. And he's taken a hit. Always got to respect how low these players can get to the ground. You can see up the top there in the snake on the right-hand side, one of the Valhalla's players is sitting super, super, super low in that cover. Has a really nice line straight across that field, and I think he knows it. He's waiting for the Yakuza player down the bottom, Ben, to make a move across. Yakuza losing a few more players. And one's made a move deep into that snake. I think that's Mush. Yeah, it looks like those players have traded, leaving 2 players on Valhalla's to move through and hang the flag. Question from Caitlin in the comments, what is the mascot? The mascot is this grey Pikachu. I'm not sure of the full story behind it. I think they take it to games wherever they can. Just give us a sec. I'll see if I can get a full body shot of it. And Valhalla takes that game, swapping sides. So you'll now see Yakuza starting on the right and Valhalla's on the left-hand side. Again, in those blue jerseys, if you're not accustomed. Wow, really nice slides from the players up there. Looks like Yakuza's managed to secure the snake really early with Ben sitting in the middle, and you've got Mush down on the south side there sitting in the castle as well. Meanwhile, Valhalla's has also moved into the castle, has one player in that Dorito and the T in that nice defensive position as well. Nice, looks like Valhalla has managed to take out the challenger sitting, the Yakuza challenger sitting in that castle, and he's also taken a round himself. So you can see we've got 3 players on Yakuza on that top side, one in the snake, one on the Dorito, one on the pillar. And Valhalla's we've got 2 on that left side as well, so on that Dorito and pillar on the top left. Sounds like there's probably 2 players sitting over there in Valhalla's, one on each pillar, which means we're looking at 2 apiece. And Yakuza down to 1 remaining player sitting on that Dorito. So let's see how well he can hold up against these 2 guys. Nice. Looks like Valhalla's has cleaned up on that one. Taking out the remaining Yakuza player and, of course, capping the flag. You hear it, of course, officially from the referee, head referee down there, Rowan. Valhalla takes that game and switching sides. So we'll now see, again, Valhalla's on the right-hand side and Yakuza moving over to the left to start again. All right, here we go. Looks like one of the Yakuza players down there, Ben, has just gone absolutely ham and pushed deep into that castle to take out one of the Valhalla's players. It'll be interesting to see if their team realizes they've lost that position so early. And he's taking a hit. Really looking like the Valhalla's players had all their lines on lock there. One of the Yakuza players tried to push through that snake and got shut down pretty quickly. And looks like they might be trying to push a sweep for the remaining players of Yakuza. Not quite sure what happened there. We'll have to find out from one of the referees later on. A bit of a strange incident on the Dorito. And Valhalla takes that game, and of course that means they walk away from that match the winners. So if we look at the scoreboard now, that actually means every team so far has a match under their belt. So everyone has one win. Now we'll be heading into match 5 and then of course match 6 shortly. But basically what that means is, depending on who wins match 5 and match 6, that'll be determining who actually goes through to the semi-final. Oh, sorry, to the grand final. We're in the semi-final. So I think it's going to be pretty intense. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So give us about 5 minutes, and we'll be seeing Yakuza return to the field to fight up against damaged Cartel B. So that's going to be a really interesting match. In the meantime, of course, we'll just quickly run an ad from the league sponsors. Alrighty. So again, if you've just joined us after the break, or if you just missed the last announcements, we're heading into match 5. And in match 5, we're seeing again Yakuza return to the field and Damage Cartel B returning to the field. So they'll be heading up against each other for the first time tonight and the only time tonight. So 3 games to determine who's going to be the match winner. And of course, depending on who wins that match, that could very well determine who's going to be heading through to the grand final. Hey, just seeing a question there from Robert Tyson, asking whether or not gel blasters can dry fire. Yes, they absolutely can. So it is a little bit different to the way the airsoft stuff works. Firstly, it can be a little bit less reliable, but we don't have proper spring-fed mags or anything like that for the AEGs. So there's actually a motor sitting at the bottom of each magazine. They get powered and they, kind of feed gels up. So they absolutely can dry fire simply by not feeding gels into that tube. Or of course, if the magazine's empty as well. Just a little bit of history for you as well. So obviously we're sitting at the semi-final now. Last season, Yakuza and Damage Cartel A are the teams that actually went through to the grand final. So I think this is going to be a pretty heated match. It's going to be interesting to see who moves through. Both teams are different. They are stacked differently. There's a few new players or a little bit of a change up on both teams. So we expect the dynamic to be a little bit different. But as always, they are very experienced players, very aggressive, and very talented. So it's going to be good to see how these guys butt heads tonight. And of course, just looking at the field down there, it looks like we have Damage Cartel B on the left and Yakuza on the right. The jerseys do look very similar. Everyone's in black, of course, because that is the Speedball style. You can hear someone going absolutely ham. If I am not mistaken, I think that's Noddy sitting on the right-hand side on that Dorito, just absolutely dumping rounds down those lanes. Meanwhile, you've got players from both sides sneaking around, trying to find those better angles on each other. And Yakuza's already lost a player sitting up in that snake. Meanwhile, looks like Damage might be playing a slightly more defensive game than usual, so they're sitting there with both players sitting on there, on each Dorito and on each pillar as well, trying to whittle down the enemy team before making a move. And Yakuza loses another player. Looks like they're trying to make a push through that Dorito now. Hey, just seeing a question there in the chat asking if the snake is new. Yeah, there's been some changes. So I think last round that snake was up there, but it was missing some cover, so some stuff has changed. There's a lot more cover in that snake now. More angles to work, other ways to sneak up there. And of course you hear it there, Yakuza takes that game. Now switching side. So again, swapping sides, we now have Damage Cartel heading over to the right-hand side and Yakuza on the left. You can hear a lot of yelling going on down there. Obviously, both of these teams are fighting for that right to move through to the grand final, so it's intense. Nice seeing Damage Cartel playing in sync there as well. Both players just a little bit earlier there, moving into the carrot and to the Dorito nice and quickly. Looks like a trade between Trick and one of the Yakuza players there. I just missed who that was. But Yakuza moving through for the sweep of the field. Alright, and we have Yakuza taking that game. Of course, switching sides for the third and final game for match 5. Alright, here we go. So again, Yakuza starting on the right-hand side and Damage Cartel B on the left. Nice, really nice aggressive sweep there from Yakuza pushing through Snake. Looks like he took one player out with him. And the rest of Damage Cartel B have managed to hold off against him. We now have Trick sitting down in that castle and Mush sitting in the castle as well, trying to challenge each other on that line. Nice aggressive play there from Trick on Damage Cartel to take out that challenging position on the castle. And sweeping around to make sure the whole field is clear. It's one of the things we've talked about with other players as well, is now that there's so much more cover on the field, everyone does need to actually check each angle so that they don't get crept up on behind. And of course that's game, so Damage Cartel B has hung the flag. We'll just wait for the final scores from the head referee, Rowan, down on the field. Alright, so Damage Cartel takes that game, of course. We just saw that happen. But Yakuza does, in fact, take the match. So they walk away from this match with Damage as the winners, which means Yakuza now has 2 wins under their belt for the evening. Now, of course, we are heading into match 6. So match 6 will be the final match for the evening, for the final match for the semi-final. We'll be seeing Hell's Gels return to the field and will be going up against Valhalla's Allstars. The winner of that match will very likely be going through to the grand final. So it is intense. There is a lot on the line for these teams. There's a lot of pressure. So give it a couple of minutes and they'll be back out in the field. We'll just quickly run another ad from one of the season sponsors. And of course, as a reminder, sign up for Season 2. There are only limited spots, and that is approaching very, very quickly. The first game, let me just double check, hang on. First game of Season 2 is on April 7th. I'll drop a link in the comments just so you can click through and sort out your team, but you do need to register. Get in there. Make sure you register, make sure you reserve your spot because you'll run out of spots, you won't get to compete. It goes really, really quickly, and there's not a lot of time between now and then, so make sure you get organized. All right, and that's a 2-minute warning, so both teams will be entering the field shortly. So again, match 6 of the semi-final for Season 1 of 2021 will be Hell's Gels versus Valhalla's Keepers. Sorry, Valhalla's All-Stars, that is such a bad habit. All right, and teams are now making their way onto the field. So again, Hell's Gels and Valhalla's All-Stars on the field. Valhalla's All-Stars, of course, in the blue jerseys, and Hell's Gels in the black and gray. All right, Hell's Gels on the right-hand side for the first game, and Valhalla's All-Stars on the left. Again, Hell's Gels with their team cheer. Absolutely love seeing that at the start of each game. So it looks like Hell's Gels has gone with those same positions that we've seen earlier tonight. 2 players sitting on the tee, 1 on each pillar. Not sure where that other one slipped away to. And it looks like the chat is dying down a little bit this time around. Again, I've said this before, the key to winning this stuff is to absolutely be communicating and stay loud with your team and coordinate your movement. And as you saw before as well, there is a 3-minute timer, so these guys do need to push and provide or put pressure on the other team and start knocking out players so they can actually make some moves. And it looks like we're seeing some use of the new little wing up the top there. You'll see one of Valhalla's players just between the Dorito and the pillar. So those wings on each side and on the high side and low side as well, they're all new additions and completely changed the line down along that side where the pillars are and into Snake. So I think that's the first time I've seen someone sitting up there tonight. And you'll see there that they're actually making use of that. So it's giving them a little stepping stone to move, from the midpoint through into that snake and stay low. So if they stay low, they're very, very hard to see from the other side. Looks like one of Valhalla's might be trying to make a move here. And that's game. Looks like we've had our second timeout for the evening. So again, there is a 3-minute timer on these games. If you don't manage to finish the game, then it's going to come down to points or whoever's left on the field. So we'll find out what the ruling is on that shortly. But that is one of the reasons these players need to keep putting pressure down. Yeah, cool. So, sorry, I was just waiting for the radio through there. Valhalla's did, in fact, take that last game due to points. As Robert has pointed out in the comments, the flag grab is what saved Valhalla's right at that last second because you do get 25 points for that. Looks like Hell's Gels is understanding the importance of grabbing that flag nice and early. And they've got that flag initially, just in case, I assume, they run out of time again. Which makes me think these guys might be trying to play a more defensive game and win it based on points. We'll see what happens, but that would certainly explain the Hell's Gels positions on the field. Sitting on that back line again in the T and on the pillars and trying to make sure that the Valhalla's Allstars don't get any ground on them. All right, you'll see Hells Angels has taken a slightly more aggressive stance, but I really do think that they're trying to play this out as a defensive game. I'm not sure what Valhalla's is doing, or if they're going to make a move soon. I do think if that flag pull is awarded, Hells Angels will probably come out on top, but we'll find out soon if we get to that 3 minutes again. You'll see in the comments right now, Trix actually joined the comments as well, so he was out in the field just before fighting on Damage Cartel B. And those guys fought really hard to try and get through the grand final. All right, and that's game again, so I would imagine that's due to timeout as well. That felt like about 3 minutes. So I really do feel like they're actually going for that defensive play right now and going on points, because if they can get those points and then wait it out, then of course they're going to walk away from that game the winners. So we'll find out in a moment what that was from the head ref. And it sounds like they're just having a discussion there about the flag pull and the hit. And the decision has been called. Hells Angels takes that game. They're now switching sides. So we now have one game to each team in this match. There's one each side. And just coming through the radio now as well. So of course, Hells Angels has taken that game to points because of that initial flag pull. What that means now is this final game, so final game for match 6 of the semi-final for season 1, is coming down to who wins this. Whoever wins this game wins the match and will likely be moving through to the grand final next week. Yeah, you can hear that. The teams are calling to each other to grab that flag, boys. So they've all obviously realized what's going on here, and they do know it's coming down to points. So whether or not Hells Angels can continue to pull off that defensive strategy and take the win, or if Valhalla is going to manage to sweep through and get that flag early and possibly clean out the rest of the field, we'll have to find out shortly. Here we go, Valhalla's making the push for that flag grab. And a swing and a miss. He's going to have to go for it again. He's given away his position now, and that flag is harder to grab because it's swinging. And looks like that was enough of a distraction for one of the Valhalla's players to sweep through that low side through Castle and take out a heap of the Hells Angels players. Nice, and there's the flag grab. Now, of course, everything's on the line, so it's going to come down to Hells Angels having to try and recover this and take out all the remaining players to actually win the game. Looks like there was a sneaky player sitting inside that snake. And you'll see that Valhalla's player is completely surrounded now. What a match. That is insane. So for a moment there, it's looking like Valhalla would have taken that, based purely on the fact that they grabbed that flag and the defensive plays early on, but Hell's Gels sweep through, I believe. Hang on, am I mixing up my plays? Oh, it was the other way around. My mistake. Getting confused with the colors down there. It was the other way around. So Valhalla's managed to sweep through and take out the remaining players on Hell's Gels. So Hell's Gels actually managed to grab that flag, but did not walk through with the win. So Valhalla's has taken that game and they've taken the match. That's 2 wins, which means they walk away tonight with 2 match wins alongside Yakuza. So stick around for a moment. Just wait for the announcements. Let's make sure that's all official. But it looks like we'll be seeing a couple of very competitive teams moving through to the finals next week. Give us a couple more minutes and those teams can come out for those announcements, and we'll just quickly roll another ad just while we wait. Alrighty, so just shortly those players will be entering the field again, along with the referee team, and of course Toby will be down there making the announcements as to who moves through to next week's grand final. It is going to be intense, even just based on the teams that have shown up tonight. The intense battles, the spirit they put in has been absolutely ridiculous, and seeing that turnover in that last game I think is a good indication as to what to expect next week. Now, of course, next week as well, we won't just be seeing these teams return for the grand final. We'll also be seeing a couple of showcase matches. Some lucky teams will be returning to the field for a few fun games. A few extra bonus packages and prizes will be awarded as well. So make sure you tune in next week at 7 p.m. for that. It's going to be pretty exciting. Hey Caitlin, just seeing a question in the comments there about who just grabbed the flag. I'm not sure what point you're up to when I'm seeing that comment pop up, but the first team to grab the flag was in fact Hell's Gels. I got mixed up from the colors. And after that, Valhalla swept through, managed to wipe everyone out, and then took that flag down to the end. I'm not sure on who the individual player was that picked it up, but it was in fact Valhalla's that took that last game. All right, and just while these announcements happen and whilst these players re-enter the field, I'm just going to shut up for a quick second and turn up the field volume so you can hear what's going on.
Pretty well came down to the last 2 matches, and it was pretty incredible to watch. And it got more and more defensive, and then it got more and more desperate. Smart. Right down to the wire. Smart. Love them. Pretty cool, but I guess you all know, but I'll tell you anyway. Yakuza are through. Allstars. Damage hell since for making a murder. Because nice to you. Got some notes here. teams will be invited back for the grand final as usual for a bit of an exhibition match before the grand final. Basically a sportsmanship thing, anyone who doesn't too much of a big during the game. After the grand final's played next week, I think it's the following week that the season is the following week. One week break and then season 2 starts. So if you're organising a team for season 2, get your reds in. They disappear this time around. That's about it. Thanks, folks. Well done. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. So you heard it there. That is official. Yakuza and Valhalla's Allstars are moving through to the grand final next week. It has been an intense journey this season. Been some really good fights. We've seen some new teams enter the fray. We've seen some experienced teams as well. It's been really good to see the journey of these guys. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens next week. Please make sure you tune in next week, 7 p.m. on Wednesday, and you'll be seeing the grand final. Not just these two teams duking it out, but you'll also see the Invitational. You'll see those other teams being invited back to have a bit of fun. And it should be a really, really, really good night. And of course, as always, thank you to the stream sponsors for this season: GBA Gel Blasters Australia, RPM Tech Shop, GBU, Tidy Toys, Vadios Clothing Company, and Strikeforce Mod Shop. If you're a supporter of these teams, maybe if you're family, if you're on the team and you want to get some really good pictures for your socials and that sort of stuff, stay tuned for a post from Hardcore Speedball. It'll have a link to Nathan Rosa Photography, where of course you can pick up some really, really nice pictures from all throughout the season. He's got all sorts of packages to make it nice and affordable for you as well. So please tune in next week. I'm excited to see what happens. As always, I'm Trent from Soft Ops. See you next week.